All right, welcome back to this week's episode. So if you've been following along, we've been trying to trace the problem of the front cylinder not firing. And we've traced it all through the spark, the coil, everything. And last week we kind of left off where I was thinking that the injector plug was probably a bad connection, but I've come to realize, and you might have seen it in the comments of the last video, I kind of tagged it at the top. I think the plug is probably fine. What I think is happening is the ECU is not triggering it to fire. It's not pulsating. So you'd have to follow along to see everything that we've done, but we took the fuel injection plug off the vertical cylinder and put it on the horizontal cylinder, and all of a sudden it started working. So there is voltage going to that forward plug from what we've been able to measure on a voltmeter, but we basically need an oscilloscope, and that's what I put in the pinned comments of the last video. I believe we'd need an oscilloscope to actually see the wave to see if it's actually pulsating, but I'm thinking it's not. So what I'd like to do is kind of fix the problems that we created, or I created last time, because when we had the gas tank off, we kind of had the fuel pump running, but then the gas line was pinched and it popped and sprayed gas everywhere. So I'd like to fix that problem, which is kind of an in-depth problem because we have to pull off the gas tank, pull off the air box, run a new line, and then put everything back together. But at this point, I'm becoming quite the expert in taking this apart. So the other thing, when we're in there, I'll be able to show you guys exactly, because we had a few comments of like, it's the fuel line, it's this, it's that. It's one fuel line in and then a return out. And the two injectors they feed off the same fuel line, so it literally goes from one to the other. So that's pretty doubtful that that's anything. Not to mention when we switch the plug over, it runs off that forward cylinder. So then what we're gonna do is the ECU's in here. I'm gonna get in there and I'm gonna take off the ECU and I'm gonna see if I believe it's called the EPROMPT chip, has been changed, and hopefully there's something very obvious I see right there, like maybe they jammed it in and a pin's aimed up and something. I do have one of you guys left a comment about you having one and it changing it out, and I actually have one for a 916 because I have a Monster S4 which has the 916 engine. Apparently it is plug and play, just the fuel mapping is going to be all off, but it would be interesting to see if I just plugged it in, even if the fuel mapping's off, if both cylinders are firing at the same time, and then we've now localized it to that issue. So hang out, stick along, or stick around, and what we're gonna do is take off all the fairings, take everything apart so that we can replace that fuel line. All right, so we got it on the tire stand, we got the side fairings off, we got the gas tank off. I was gonna show you right here. That's the fuel line that we split. I'm not sure what we were doing, whether we had the gas line like this, which is probably, and it just boop. So now just got to get the air box off, and then I'll be able to show you exactly the two fuel injectors and show you how they're exactly connected. All right, so if you follow these two gas lines around, you'll see that the one plugs in down here. See, this line plugs in right here, and then it branches off to the other one. And then from there, it comes right back. So pressurized going through, and then I think it comes out of the fuel pressure regulator. So right here, here's both of the fuel injectors. I'm not seeing anything from this side. I was even thinking about bending one of these prongs just to see if I can get it to have more contact with the injector itself, but you can see that we're not seeing that. So the fuel line that I actually need to replace is this one right here, which is pretty fun and complicated. So these they're pretty simple to get back on. They just push and clip back on. So this just goes like this, and then that's it. So when you're looking at this, so let's say if I take off the clip and then it fits tight. There's no reason that it shouldn't be anything. So since we were reading, and what I meant from continuity, I put the voltmeter here and in the back, and this had continuity, so it's not like the wire's broken in here somewhere. And not to mention, we were measuring 12 volts out here. It's just there was no way to test with that voltmeter to see if it was a pulsing 12 volts. So I'm going to get all this situated back up. I'm going to replace this fuel line. This shouldn't be too hard because, you know, we've already replaced it. But I'll just track that line. As soon as I get this one off, I'll cut one to the same size, throw it back in. And then we're going to put all this back together, hopefully for the final time. And I don't really want to see this part of the bike again for a long time. And then we're going to go back here and take apart the ECU and take apart the window to see if the EEPROM chip has been changed and see if there's some kind of damage there that we could see. And then either today or tomorrow, but it should be the same video for you, I'll probably pull off the ECU from the other bike and plug it in and just see what happens. All right, so we got the fuel line replaced, the air box is back on, the velocity stacks, the tank, everything's hooked back up. So we are back to where we were, where this cylinder is firing and that one is not. So we've already tested it, sprayed water on that cylinder. So you can zoom in and see here. Smoking, and down here, nothing. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna see about tearing into the ECU to see if it has a different EEPROM chip. I think it's Fast by Farachi. They sell their own, so kind of stands to reason if somebody bought this slip-on kit, maybe they got their little EEPROM chip as well. So let's at least dig in there and see what's going on. All right, so the ECU is back here and we got like a toolbox. So this just unclips, pulls out, and here's the ECU. What's a little concerning by me seeing this is the yellow writing on here. It usually maybe happens from a parts warehouse, but to change out the EEPROM chip is like through this little window and the sticker always gets destroyed. So that's a little bit more concerning that it wasn't changed out. So yeah. But all right, I'm gonna unplug it. I've already unhooked the battery. I'm gonna unplug it and pull it out because I think it should have the part number on the back of like what it's for, I think, or at least ones I've seen on eBay do. All right, got her out. And yeah, there's the sticker, but 748 Ducati. This thing looks remarkably clean, so it's leading me to believe it's the original one. So he probably just put on the slip-ons. So what's going on with this? Because this sticker doesn't look like it's been removed at all. No, see, the sticker's already tearing. Here's the Ducati one, void if you get into here. I don't know. Maybe we'll take the one off that other one. So the 2001 Ducati S4 has a 916 engine, and obviously that's bigger, but everything says it should just run poorly. Well, it's already running poorly. But if we plug the other one in and all of a sudden both cylinders start firing, then we know it's this. So I think that's probably going to be the next step. All right, so we're in the garage looking at my Ducati 2001 S4, which has the 916 engine on it. But if you look right here, that is a completely different style ECU. And I'm not seeing anything that would have that giant ECU box on it. So I'm voting that the internet has lied again. So since the internet was wrong and the S4 doesn't have anything remotely like this, and neither does the Monster, I might as well just open this up right here and see if there's anything I can see on the inside. And then, I don't know, maybe just putting it back in and one of the grounds gets a better connection, maybe it'll start working. But I think I'll crack this open and we'll just have a look inside. So just cut off the sticker and then just get your pick and pry up. And then this is the chip that you would change out. Ducati sold other chips and so did other manufacturers. But now kind of just like looking around in here, I don't know, I don't see anything burned and nothing smells burned. So I don't really see anything. I think this is the potentiometer that you can adjust how many pulses. But if this thing's never been opened, then it doesn't make sense that that's been messed with at all. I don't know. I'm not seeing anything that is standing out. The chip looks completely fine. All of the plugs going in look completely fine. So yeah, so I guess I'll put this all back together, throw it on there, and maybe it all of a sudden decided to work, but probably not. All right, so I'm just double checking all the connections. Everything looks good. So when you put these on, kind of goes in there, and then just like that, and it clicks on. And then you got to go underneath here. A little bit of a pain because the whole thing sits on these rubber screws. All right, it's on, and then right there, and then we'll just snug everything down, and then we'll see. All right, ECU's in, all locked down. Just put it in the toolbox, back on. Putting that back down. Battery's hooked back up. All right, let's see. Sounds the same. So we'll test and see. Let's see. Nope. Yep. So unfortunately, nothing was figured out in this episode because we don't have an oscilloscope to make sure, but it seems like that should be fine. And the ECU, it's stock, but it looks fine. But there's no way to know without the oscilloscope to make sure that it's actually firing. So unfortunately, at this point, I think we're at a little bit of a standstill. I was really hoping to just change out the ECU to rule that out, but we don't have the other two Ducatis from the same era. One is I think the Monster is a 2002, different ECU. And the S4, which has a 916 engine, is a 2001. But this 2002 has a completely different ECU. So don't believe the internet, kids. And now I don't know. The only other idea I had was to make a jumper from the one fuel injector to the other. But then that's going to put a lot of load on that one fuel injection line, which I don't know that would be a good thing. The only things I can think of to test now are getting an oscilloscope just to see if it's actually pulsing, which I don't think it is. And the other thing would be to just change out the ECU, because that would actually be pretty easy. But ECUs are relatively expensive on eBay. So I think at this point, this project's at a standstill unless any of you guys have something I've completely missed or glossed over. So yeah, sorry for the horrible ending to this saga, but there is a playlist that this will be linked to. So if you're watching this in the future and you're wondering if there's another video, it would be in the playlist. So see you later.